Hey guys, Jim the Game Guru. Let's do some air, land, and sea in today's video. Now, this game is a game that I recently played with a friend of mine, and it was actually kind of surprising because there's not a lot to this game, but it was actually really fun. This is a game where you try to win a war over a series of battles, and during each of the battles, you have to have the most points inside of a theater. So air being a theater, land being a theater, and sea being a theater. If you guys are new here, please consider subscribing. So let's go ahead and rip open this air, land, and sea game, and I'll show you guys the components and a really quick how-to play. All right, so let's take a look at the components on the table. As I said earlier, there's not a whole lot to this game as far as components. It's actually very minimal. You have the three theaters that are here in the middle of the table. So you have land, air, and sea, and each one has pretty good artwork to it. I actually really like the artwork. I think the theme in this game is really solid. I mean, as far as the whole military combat images, I think they've done a great job on that. And I think the balancing in this game is actually really solid as well. I never, during my games that I played with so far, I've never had a situation where I felt like one thing is way overpowered over something else. So the balancing, very well done. I think the number of cards, there's only 18 cards in this deck, and I've dealt 6 here and then 6 here. This is only a 2-player game. So the deck is actually very light. It only has 18 cards in it total. Dealt 6 here, dealt 6 here, and then the other 6 stay right here in a pile. You do not reach for this deck of cards during the game unless a specific card tells you to do so. Right here we have commander cards, and you can see on the very back it says Supreme Commander. And it tells you here in the Supreme Commander, you have the first player and you have a second player. So that's how you know who's going first. So this person being the first player, this kind of chart right here will tell you how many victory points the opposing player will get if you have certain amount of cards left in your hand. So if you have 4+ cards, the opposing player gets 2. If you have 2 to 3 cards left, the opposing player gets 3. If you only have 1 card left, the opposing player gets 4. And if you have 0 cards, meaning you played all 6 of your cards and you lose the battle, the other player gets 6 points. Now, why would they have this? Why would they? The reason why they have this is because there are times where you may think you're not going to win the battle. There's no way you can win the battle, because in order to win the battle, you have to have more points in 2 out of the 3 theaters. So 2 out of 3 theaters, you have to have the most points. If you think there's no shot in hell that you're going to do it, you can actually withdraw and give the other player the victory for that battle. The earlier you do it, the better it is, because in this case, if I still had 4+ cards left in my hand and I withdrew right at the very beginning, they would only get 2 versus giving them 6 if you try to go through the entire battle and try to win it, and you end up losing. So let's show you some of the cards here. So these cards, again, really good artwork on them. Let's take a look at the card anatomy. So at the very top left is the point value of the card. So whenever you have them in the theater, this is how many points they're going to contribute in that area. This one's saying reinforce, draw 1 card and play it face down in an adjacent theater. Adjacent theater meaning that if you're here, adjacent theater is here and here. So like these 2 are not adjacent theaters at all. So the next one right here, you got redeploy, which is worth 4 points. You may return 1 of your face down cards to your hand if you do play a card. Actually, these are not really points. They're more of like strength value. So we have disrupt, which is a strength value of 5. Starting with you, both players choose and flip 1 of their uncovered cards. Then we have 6 for heavy bombers. 3 for maneuver, which is flip an uncovered card in an adjacent theater, and then 3 for maneuver here, which is the same thing, flipping adjacent card. Let's see what player 2 has over here. So they have support right here, where you gain a +3 strength in each adjacent theater. Now, if you see a card that right here that has this little symbol right here, that means it's an ongoing effect. Strength value, artwork, name of the card, and the ability. And then this says it's an ongoing effect or an instant ability. So you have heavy tanks, you have aerodrome, you may play cards of strength 3 or less to non-matching theaters. Escalation, all of your face down cards are now worth 4 strength. And then you have airdrop. The next time you play a card, you may play it to a non-matching theater. And then transport, you may move one of your cards to a different theater. Now, looking at this hand right here, you see a lot of strength values are 1s and 2s, right? This player could possibly withdraw at the very beginning of this battle, say screw it, because this is not a very strong hand, and they would probably end up getting screwed over on this battle. So if I were player 2 in this particular match, I would probably withdraw, but I'm not going to withdraw because I want to show you guys how the game is played really fast. Okay, so that goes down there, and then the rest of the cards are over here. No one sees these, so only you can only see your own hand, and then these ones over here are not visible, and there's only one particular card that I know of that will allow you to draw from here and put it down. Then whenever you put down a card in a theater, you have to match the type of theater it is. So this, if I put this face up, I have to put that in land. I cannot put it in air, I cannot put it in sea, because this is a land card. Now, there is an option too, that if you don't want to place it face up and use the card's ability, you can actually place it face down. And when you do that, and place it face down because it's worth 2 strength, you can put it anywhere you want in any theater. I mean, that's one thing that I love about this game. It's very tight when it comes to the battle strengths and the abilities, and it's very balanced with that. At the same time, it gives you this flipping ability where you can flip a card over and put it anywhere you want. And the really cool thing is that sometimes you'll have a combo in your hand where there's a card that will allow you to flip a card over. So I could place this, so this is being a land card, I could place this in C, right, for 2 points. Let's say I put this in air because the 2 maneuver cards I have are in these ones. I put that in air and then I place maneuver here. This says I can flip any uncovered card in an adjacent theater, right? So then I can place this here, and then I can then flip this card and then use the ability when this card is flipped. So anytime you flip a card, you can also use its ability when you flip it over, which is really, really cool. So you can use the ability when you play the card down, or you can use the ability when you flip a card over. So let's do a quick how to play really quick with 2 players. All right, so this player is first. Again, I'm not going to withdraw with that second player because normally I think that person would withdraw because they got low cards in their hand. But let's just go through and see what we can do. All right, so I'm going to do reinforce. I'm going to place it up. That allows me to draw a card. I can draw a card, take a look at it, but then I got to play this card face down in an adjacent theater. The only adjacent theater is this. So I know that this one's actually a 4, and this is called cover fire. All cards covered by this card are now strength of 4. But let's go ahead and put that there. Now, that player, the second player is going to go now. Let's see what they're going to do. They're going to probably put down support because support allows the 2 adjacent theaters to have a +3 strength. So this card, even though this card is only 1 strength in the theater that's placed in, it's super powerful as far as giving a strength to other theaters. So they're going to go ahead and place it down like that. And if you noticed, I placed it down like toward facing the player. Because every time you put your cards down, you're always going to place it facing you so you can read the cards as you're playing. So we're going to go over here now. And what are we going to do? I'm not going to use maneuver. And the reason why I'm not going to use these maneuver cards is because I have noticed that sometimes I'll have a big card out. And then your opponent toward the end of the game will have a maneuver card or something else. And they'll end up flipping it over to 2, which gives you less strength. So sometimes these maneuver cards are really handy when it comes to saving them toward the end so you can flip them a card upright if you need to. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do redeploy, which is you may return one of your face down cards to your hand. If you do, play a card. There we go. That is freaking sweet. Because now I can pull this one back. Because cover fire means that every lower card underneath cover fire is now a strength of 4. I'll do the heavy bomber. There we go. So we'll do heavy bomber. Now this person over here is gonna go and let's see what they got in their hand. So they're gonna go ahead and just put down heavy tanks. Screw it. We'll just go like that. Okay. Person over here is gonna go. So now this person over here is winning the land theater because they have 6 strength versus the 1. This person is winning the air, 6 strength versus the 1. This person's winning the sea, 4 points to nothing. Oh, and one other thing I want to explain to you is this right here. You see where it says player 1 wins tied theaters? That means if this person over here ties, if these, let's say C ended up having the same strength in this theater for both players, right? The first player wins on the tiebreaker. That's one thing that's very important to keep in mind. And I like that because, again, it's a balancing thing. Because going first in this game I find it's a little harder because that second player gets the last shot to screw you over. They balance it because if you have a tie, then you end up winning that theater. I'm going to lay down Disrupt. Disrupt says, starting with you, both players choose and flip one of their uncovered cards. Now you notice it doesn't say may. It says they flip. So it is a forced flip. So this person over here is going to have to do a forced flipped as well. I might flip this one. So now it's down to 2 points there. Now this person over here, let's see if they have a maneuver or something. I can't remember if they do. Do they have a maneuver? Oh, wow, they do not. What they'll do is they'll flip this like this. It's going to be 2, but this is still going to give the +3. All right, so now this player over here is going to go, and then what they're going to do is they're going to play, we'll do Escalation. There we go. So they play Escalation. Now, this card that was flipped, that was a 6, is now worth 4 because Escalation says all of this player's face-down cards are now worth 4 points. Okay, so now we have Cover Fire over here, and Cover Fire is... actually, you know what? They'll probably just use Maneuver. They'll use Maneuver, and then they'll flip this back over. There you go. This player over here goes now. Let's do Aerodrome, which allows me to play any card that's 3 or less in my hand to any one of the theaters. Hey, they got 3 or less cards pretty much in their hand. Now this person's going to go. They got Cover Fire, 4, and then Maneuver, it's 3. They're going to go ahead and we'll do this. Cover Fire, that makes every other card down here worth 4 points underneath it. Yeah, it makes the Disrupt, which is 5, and turns that into a 4. This 1 becomes a 4 too, so the payoff is greater. This 3 becomes a 4. So now you have 12 plus 4 is 16, strength of 16 right here. Now this person's going to go, so they're still winning this. Let's do Airdrop right here. Now this player over here is losing this 7-6. And then this person's going to go now. And what are we going to do? We have a maneuver card, but it says flip and uncover card in an adjacent theater. And maybe they'll do that. Maybe they'll go ahead and say, okay, we're going to concede this one because there's no way I'm going to win this. I'm already losing that. So they'll flip that. So now they have 7-2. Let's see what happens on this last go with player 2. Now they have transport. You may move one of your cards to a different theater. There's no way in hell they're going to win this. So we have 1 point here. They're going to go ahead and pull this over to here. Did they beat this person? So here I go. I said this person over here could have withdrew because they had such a low shitty hand, but they ended up winning this battle. They ended up winning this battle. This person dominated here because of support. Support gives a +3 on both sides. So support gave a +3 here. So they have 4, 5, +3 is 8. They beat this player by 1 point on this theater. And then here they have 6, 7. They beat this player in air, and only land was the theater that player won. So that player over there gets 6 victory points right there, and the 6 victory points go to that player. So they put it over there on their side. Let's take a look at the victory points. I didn't show you these cardboard little tokens, but they feel pretty good. They're pretty solid and pretty thick. You have 6, 3, and 1, and these are what you use to keep track of your victory points. You have to get to 12. The first person to 12 in this game ends up winning the game. That's the end of this battle. So what happens at the end of the battle? So let's go ahead and we're going to take all the cards like this, take them back, right? All the cards come back. And then what happens is you put these all into the deck. You shuffle this deck. These theaters move just like that. You see how the theater moved like that? They move around like that. The reason why they move around like that is because it changes the adjacency of the theaters in the match. The Supreme Commanders change. So it's the Supreme Commanders. Now this person becomes second player, that person becomes first player. You shuffle the deck, you'll deal out 6 there, deal 6 here, and then you start again on the next battle. The first person that collects 12 points of victory points there wins the game. Really, really simple. It's a fun game. I actually did not think I was going to enjoy this game
at all. I thought, I've seen this for the longest time. I thought, oh, you know what? It looks okay. I might pick it up here and there. It looks all right. There was nothing online by looking at the game that really attracted me and say, hey, you know what? I need to buy that right now. Nothing was drawing me in. So then I decided, you know what? I'll take a gamble on it because it's a cheaper title. It wasn't really very expensive at all. So I said, screw it, I'll buy it. Ended up playing it the other day with my friend, and we had a blast. We played 3 total games on it, and I think we had 4 battles in between within each one of the games. So it was a good time. I actually enjoyed it. Now, the one thing that I would say is that with the 18 cards, there's not a whole lot of variety, which is kind of a problem because that's one of the things my friend commented on. He didn't like the fact that there wasn't a whole lot because the same cards keep coming up and up. Yeah, there's gonna be a time where cards are in here and you're not gonna be able to play them. For the most part, 18 cards distributed amongst 2 people, you're gonna end up seeing the same cards over and over. So this game is more about having fun with the strategy and the gameplay versus the different cards. But I still think that they can expand this game pretty easily. So they have a good base to expand the game. And I think that later on that maybe they can have an expansion that adds another theater somehow. I don't know, because right now you have sea, land, and air. Maybe space. If they wanted to add some space warfare. I don't know, but this is more of a older style World War type of game, so you can't really have space in there. Something different. Maybe they can add another theater. And if not, then they could add maybe 18 more cards that are valued 1 through 6 that could possibly have additional abilities or something. I don't know, something that would actually freshen up the game a little bit more. Other than that, though, this base game is actually really solid. I actually really enjoyed it. So the next video, guys, I will see you later.